Hello and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn session. Today we'll be talking about how to save on interest and secure your financial future and mortgage mastery. So whether you're paying off your first home or just trying to make that mortgage hurt a little less, this session's for you. Quick little bit of housekeeping before we get started. There's obviously a Q&A box at the bottom. If we get some time at the end of today, we'll try and get through as many Q&A questions as you've got, and also if you do have to duck off at all throughout the session, we will send a replay of the session through to your inboxes in the coming days. So yeah, let's get started. Let's stop making the bank richer and start making sort of a strong financial future for ourselves, and that comes from tackling our mortgages and getting smarter with how we pay them off. So what we're going to cover off today here is, understanding some of the realities of where things are at right now. What are some of the things that hold us back and keep us sort of doing that status quo and paying off mortgages the way the banks want us to pay them off? What are some levers we've got to get ahead? How we can use our home and our mortgage with leverage to build wealth as well. So not just using the home as the roof over our head, but also to grow wealth for our retirement. And yeah, talk about a couple of client stories that I've got, some real life examples that hopefully can relate to you and make you understand the power and the benefit of getting smarter with your mortgage. And as I said at the end, we will try to get as many Q&A slides in or questions in as possible. So my name's Justin Gauci. As you can probably pick up maybe potentially from my voice, I am losing my voice as we go. Perfect timing for it, obviously, hosting a lunch and learn. What a day to wake up with a lost voice. So my apologies in advance. No Grammy nominations coming from my voice from today. It does sound a little bit croaky, but my role here at Enable Me is as a financial advisor and coach is to give people financial confidence to do better with money, okay? So they can save more, do the things that they want to enjoy, okay? It's not about living as a hermit and just hoarding money. It's enjoying your money and making it work and getting in control of it and making it work for you, okay? And one of the big aspects of doing that is understanding how mortgages work and how we can get better with those. Quick little disclaimer before we do go any further that today's presentation is just for informational purposes only, okay? It's not personalized financial advice. Yes. How could it be? We haven't met, so I don't know you, your income, the size of your mortgage, what you're trying to achieve, what your goals are. I do strongly recommend, if you are looking for tailored personal financial advice, to meet with a professional financial advisor. And at the end of today's session, we'll put up an offer for you guys to potentially book in with myself or one of the team here. So you can take this general information and put it into a more specific situation for yourself. So what is the current reality that we're sort of seeing right now in New Zealand with mortgages? Okay, and just under 60% of households are stressed out about their mortgage. Okay, they are potentially record numbers you're seeing there. Just under 24,000 mortgages have fallen behind in payments. Obviously, as the cost of houses have gone up over time, and we saw a big surge in the interest rates over the last couple of years, it's been tough out there. Okay. And that very top statistic really, I guess, pinpoints that more than anything. Nearly 50 cents for every dollar a New Zealand household is earning is going towards their mortgage. Now that's massive. That is so much higher than it used to be. And that's why people are doing it tough. The one positive impact and positive statistic that we do see on that screen right now is 71% of mortgages are up for renewal in the next 12 months. Okay, now that creates opportunity. It creates opportunity for a couple of things. Glass half full opportunity is there's ways to do better. Okay, we can do some things now that our mortgages are coming off higher rates to get ahead. The glass half empty opportunity is to coast along and just rid of that ease of cash flow away and do nothing. And that's actually the more common reality. People come off 6% or 7% interest rates and go into a 4%. They don't make the financial progress that they should be making with that extra cash flow. It just gets lost into the ether, okay? And they stay on the current trajectory that they're on their mortgage timeframes. So the pain for those people isn't over. they haven't taken any action. They've just taken a bit of a free kick and not actually used it to get ahead. But that, hopefully for those of you that have taken the time to log on for a lunch and learn session, isn't you guys, but just telling you what it is for the majority of people out there. They will just coast with this opportunity that's coming up in the next 12 months. So for most people, this is why, okay? This is the why section. Why do we want to get financially ahead? I would pay off the mortgage. It's for financial security. Now that's going to be different, what that means for every individual, okay? That could be just you're stressing about money and just feeling like it's the biggest cost of your budget is gone. That's a fantastic peace of mind for some people. It might allow you to explore avenues for what you do for work, passion projects, scaling back on work, etc., or building some stability through volatility. As we sort of see right now, it's tough out there. The economy is still just starting to slowly pick up. Getting ahead on your mortgage means you've got more resilience when things outside of your control actually can hold you back. So as I said before, nearly 50 cents in every dollar that we're earning is going straight to the bank. You know, we work hard for that dollar and the bank just takes 50 cents of it. We need to find a way to improve in this area. Sure, cutting back on frivolous spending matters, and it's, you know, cash flow that's got more money in than money out is essential to build any great strategy. But for me and my clients, I want to tackle the biggest cost of the household first. And for the majority of people, it's the mortgage cost. So we've got to find ways to reduce that cost faster so we can do these other exciting things and amazing things that we see here on the screen. Okay. If we can get our mortgage down faster, we might be able to have these overseas trips that we just think are a pipe dream at the moment. Could help fund sort of the kids' education in the future, or making sure we've got a comfortable retirement. You know, the cutbacks we might make, you know, the old avo on toast or cutting back on an online subscription. If you enjoy it, you're going to really be able to stick to cutting those things out? Probably not. Nobody here enjoys paying their mortgage. So let's cut that first. Why cut the things that we might enjoy and, you know, think that that's going to actually get us ahead? One, we're not going to consistently stick to it. Two, the size of your online subscription bill at the end of the year compared to your mortgage is chalk and cheese. You're probably, for every dollar that you earn, maybe spending 1 or 2 cents for every dollar earned on online subscriptions, but that seems to be what we first think about, whereas 50 cents of it's going on the mortgage. So I want to tackle that first. And on the next slide, I'm just going to show you what the impact of paying off a mortgage so much faster and can do, okay? And this is with an average first home mortgage of 550,000. Now your number might be more or might be less than this, okay? It is what it is. But just taking that average of 550 and reducing it down to 15 years or 10 years, and again, these might sound like crazy numbers. This is what me and my team achieve with our clients. We smash down mortgages at these sort of rates, okay? Where you fit within the scope remains to be seen. But if we can cut a 30-year mortgage down to 15 years, that saves nearly $280,000 in interest. If we cut it down to 10 years, so cutting 30 down to 10, it's $360,000 of saved interest. So the key part, well, they're all great numbers to take away from here, but it's the structure of how we pay the debt off that makes the biggest impact. I think we have a bit of a fascination with what the interest rate is, but don't focus on the lower rate. It's the lower lifetime cost of getting it paid off faster is what really matters more. Pace beats price every time here with your mortgage. Doesn't matter if that person was getting 4.9 instead of 4.99. Okay, if they stayed on a 30-year trajectory compared to someone that was on 5.5 for 10 years, they're behind. Okay, you've got to make a smarter strategy to pay off the debt as fast as possible. Now, while strategy is fantastic, behaviors is what actually really drives success. Okay, the strategy we say is 20% of the puzzle. Your behaviors is 80%. And that's why a couple of key factors to this are it needs to be something you can consistently achieve week after week, month after month, year after year. It can't be a cookie cutter approach that you hate and is like a fad diet and is out the window pretty quickly. Okay, it needs to be systems in place to make it possible for you to achieve these things over time. And then the other big part to this is earning more doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make the financial progress that you should be making. The old keeping up with the Joneses, we've all heard it, and I personally and the team here, we've all seen it. Earning more doesn't matter if you spend more. It's what's left over and how we can use that to propel you ahead, and how we can use that against the mortgage so you can go on those 10 or 15-year trajectories instead of the 30-year. So look, we all understand that we need a plan, okay? And where we're at, we all start in different spots. Some of us might be sprinting, some of us are crawling, some of us might be going backwards. So we need to understand where we're at, what the problem is or what the goal is we're trying to achieve, and what's the right time frame to achieve it. And most importantly, it has to fit your life, not someone else's. Okay, you can't just take a random article that's written pretty generically and say, I've got enough information here for them to know my situation and my goals. It needs to be really someone that understands you and has spoken to you about those. And most plans will boil down to the following things, okay? And they might seem boring, but boring delivers success. Maximizing savings, okay? More money in than money out. Plug the leaks, and plug the leaks in the areas that matter least to you. If you enjoy it, build it into your plan. Things you don't enjoy, let's tackle those. As I said before, mortgage is the biggest one, but there's some other areas that people fritter money away that we can just get a little bit smarter and use that money to crush the mortgage. The mortgage is, as I said, our biggest expense. We need to tackle that and ditch the 30-year relationship with the bank and try and halve that. Then when we do that, we create something called leverage. Okay, we've got equity in our home and we can actually build wealth for our retirement. So not just saving hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest, we actually can use the home and the equity to grow even more for our retirement, which is fantastic, which is what creates those options. So step one, as I said, it is maybe the bread and butter stuff. It's the maximizing your savings. Okay, and to do that, you need to understand these things on the screen here: your money personality, your approach to risk, and your current cash position. Now, the important thing to note is there's no right or wrong answer to a money personality or your approach to risk. You're an individual, okay? And for most couples out there, there'll actually be, more often than not, a mix within the couple. So it's really essential that any financial plan is the right fit for us as individuals and also as a joint couple potentially working with different money personalities. Because a shopper and a saver as a relationship, they get the best out of each other and enjoy, I guess, what the other brings to the table, but they can butt heads, okay? The shopper needs to understand that the plan isn't cutting out all the fun. It does include the things that they enjoy, and they can help drive the couple to achieve their financial success. The saver understands that the right goal is being achieved, so they don't have to stress about every dollar that's going out the door because they know where they're heading towards. Okay, so both sides of that are being heard perfectly well. A plotter is somewhere in between. Okay, they just think it's just going to sort itself out. It can float between the two. Your approach to risk, that's going to really dictate how you might grow wealth in the future. Okay, are you pretty risk adverse and safety warden? That's fine. Okay, we just need to understand, and as a financial advisor working with a client like that, making sure you understand where there's opportunity so you don't miss out. They're very unlikely to go and lose money, but they might lose out on opportunities that could be even more costly than somebody who might be losing some money. Someone that might do that is an adventurer. They will take financial risks, but it's very important for them that there's well thought out plans behind them. And a dreamer, they kind of just think the universe is going to sort it out. They've got great intentions, but they need some actions to put things into place. And where's your current cash position? Does it feel like you're sinking, going backwards in short-term debt? Are you floating along and things are okay? Or are you flying? Okay, wherever you're at is a great starting point. You need to elevate. And if you are flying, are you flying in the right direction? So knowing your starting point and your tendencies helps optimize that cash flow. Okay, as I said, cash flow is king. Tiny tweaks to how you do things can make seamless gains. We don't believe in painful budgeting that cuts all the fun and lives a hermit lifestyle. But we see that Kiwis on average are frittering away 15% of their household income in these areas. It's poor habits around the way they do their supermarket shopping, multiple trips per week, etc. It is a little bit around some of those little bits that I said aren't as important to focus on as the mortgage structure, like your takeaways and your subscriptions. If we can just get them a little bit smarter, so you've only got the ones that you enjoy. You're not slashing and burning everything here, but there can be some rogue ones that are just left behind that you forgot you even had. Not shopping around for utilities and insurance is another big one. We pay a loyalty tax. Okay, we are, as a new customer for a lot of companies, treated a lot better than an existing customer. So doing that shop around every couple of years, sure, it takes a little bit of time, but might save you hundreds or a couple of $1,000s a year. We can then put that into the mortgage structure, which can then go into the next level and save those 6 figures on interest, because that mortgage structure relies on a good cash flow surplus. A little bit here on short-term debt. Look, what short-term debt tends to tell me is you're living beyond your means, okay? And it's likely to kill your future wealth and buffers and peace of mind. It's like being in quicksand often, okay? And the interests that are on short-term debts often outweigh the returns on any investments that are being made elsewhere. If you do have short-term debts, we need a strategic plan, okay? We've got to tackle it with intention, not just intensity. We need to make sure we've got buffers that we're not just attacking it down and then leave ourselves at risk to get in more debt in the future. We need buffers in place, so when we are eliminating it, we never go back there. So we've talked about the cash flow side of it, and once we've got that humming along, well, we need to crush the mortgage. As I said before, it's the most vital thing I talk to my clients about, is how we get this done faster. And it's not about hounding the bank to get 4.92% instead of 4.95. It's not about the interest rate at all. It's about the pace that we pay it off. And I think when we go through this example, a couple of examples in a few slides, you'll see it's pace is what really matters here. The 3 R's, I guess, you've got with mortgages, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. So no one size fits all will work here. But you've got refixing, refinancing, and restructuring. Now, refixing, is when you got a fixed rate coming off an interest rate in maybe a couple of weeks or a week's time, and the bank's offering you new interest rates, and they're better than they were when you fixed in 2024 or late 2023. Refinancing is something that you could be doing when those loans are coming off, but you're also potentially out of what's called a clawback period, which generally, I think, 3 to 4 years most banks have them at. You can take that loan to another bank. And as I said sort of before, we're always our most attractive when we're a new customer. Why would we do something like refinancing? We can negotiate some better conditions. We can get what's called a cashback incentive. So if you've got a $600,000 mortgage, as I said before, if you can get maybe 0.7, 0.8 up to 1% in cashback, that could be 5 to 6K, 4 to 6K of cashback in your pocket that can again help to pay down the debt. Restructuring, it's a little bit of the two there. It's staying with your current bank, but just making sure you've got your mortgages structured in a way that crushes the debt a little bit faster. Okay, and what's right for you depends on your goals, your income and your timeline, and also how long you've been with your current bank for. Refinancing might not be on the cards for some people for a couple of years. I know for myself, I'm just about a year or so away from being able to refinance. Okay, so you might not be able to refinance every time your mortgage comes off. But when the right time's there, it's definitely something to consider. Next up here, I've got some clients that came to me last year, Jared and Bianca, who again have had quite a sizable mortgage, first home buyers, $800,000 mortgage. And we talked through their goals, and they were having a wedding and they got a couple of overseas trips planned. And we went through the session and we got them to that section in the orange. which was fantastic. They thought that was amazing. We're halving that mortgage, that $800,000 mortgage, not living like a hermit, and they were going to save over $400,000, which is fantastic, isn't it? And how do we do this? Not by, stressing about 0.5% here or there, or 0.1% on the interest rate. It was getting that right strategy in place. What the blue is showing is where they're at right now. Okay, there's been a couple of pay rises that we've been able to build into the plan now as well, because plans don't stay static, do they? Life changes. The beauty for these guys is they got a plan for the pay rises, so this is just extra on top. So fantastic. They were loving it. 15 years. They're actually now on track to pay it off in 12 and save another $70,000. The decisions they've made by building a plan that allows for them to do all the things that they I guess, financial goals, but also life goals like the overseas trips and the weddings, mean they can just keep rolling with things. Okay, as new things will pop up, we'll adjust the plan. And whether it pushes the 12 further to the left or a little bit back towards the orange, they are still nearly $500,000 ahead of where they were just paying off the mortgage in a normal 30-year term. So what could be the right timeline for you? Well, who knows? You might be on the same trajectory or similar trajectory to those guys, 12 to 15 years. You might be better. You might be like on the red there in 9 years, or slightly slower in the purple, 18 years. What I want to pause on here is what you see is you're still saving $300,000 to $500,000 wherever you are between the 9 and the 18 years there. That's money that the bank is just wanting people to sleepwalk towards paying them over the next 30 years. Don't they make enough money already? Wouldn't you rather that $330,000 if you paid it off in 18 years in your pocket? Not just that, as I sort of come to in a second, you'll be paying off your mortgage, creating equity in your home, which can help set yourself up for retirement. So that's, as I was saying, a bit of a plot twist there. It's not the end game, paying off the mortgage. Step 3 is about creating leverage or creating equity and using that leverage to grow your wealth. What is leverage and why we like it? I show this example here, which is a scenario of investing in managed funds on the left and in property on the right. Now, on the left, that's a shoot the lights out example, 10% net return. Okay, for someone putting in $160,000, they get $16,000. On the right, we've got the 30-year average capital growth for property at 6%. If you put $160,000 into a property, the bank will actually give you the other 80%. So you can buy an $800,000 asset. If that $800,000 asset grows by 6%, the gain you're making is $48,000, 3 times the growth on the left. Now, they're example scenarios, and past performance can't dictate the future, but it's the size of the asset that you own is so much higher because of that leverage piece, using the bank's money so you can grow your wealth. I guess the next bonus here is you don't even really, the real beauty of this is, especially if you're a first home buyer, who has $160,000 cash just lying around? Probably not really for most first home buyers, but you don't need cash to invest into property. You can use the equity in your home. So what is equity? It's the difference between the value of your home and what you owe to the bank. So again, paying down debt not just saves you an interest, it creates equity, and that equity can generate wealth. It's like a cycle, a wealth cycle that can start with simple steps today, just paying down your debt. So getting equity in your home can solve for future things like retirement, which might not even feel like it's on your radar, but setting yourself up now gives you the best possible options for later on in life. Step 4, which I think brings it all back in together, is getting accountable. Okay, and there's a famous NFL coach's quote there on the screen right now. A coach helps you get yourself to the full potential. Okay, they'll provide the honest feedback. They'll also see things that you might not actually be able to be aware are happening. They've got that expert lens to guide you in the right sort of way. And yeah, they can give you clarity on your goals. How often do people get stuck in their own head working out where they want to head towards? Okay, a coach just I guess, breaks it down and stops that endless conversation you might get stuck into your head and says, no, it's this and this. And you might have already thought that, but you might have just stayed in your own head for a little bit longer and not actually made that progress. And as famous US President Lyndon B. Johnson puts it, we can't do anything about yesterday. Yesterday's decisions are done, but tomorrow is shaped by today's actions. You can take control of your future with what you do today, okay? Positive momentum and small consistent wins is what leads to big results over time. So if you feel like you've not got a great relationship with money or history with money, put it to one side. It doesn't dictate your future. You can still take clear, actionable steps to get ahead and make every day count. Okay. That's what sets yourself up in the future, is making actionable changes to propel yourself ahead. So just to wrap things up, some key takeaways here. As I said before, it's pace beats rates. Okay, lower rates, they're a benefit, but most people actually just fritter that away and coast. We need a strategy to actually pay off the mortgage faster. You need to understand your habits and your capacity, okay? It needs to be the right approach for you and not a cookie cutter approach. We need consistent wins at the end of the day. And that's what helps you stay engaged over time, okay? It can't be a set and forget things that is written on a piece of paper and we don't look at it for the next 5 years. We need to understand where we're at and measure where we need to get to in shorter timeframes than that. And obviously, accountability is essential. Helps you stay the course and achieve your true potential. So a little bit again about the team we've got here at Enable Me. We've got 26 experienced advisors, and as advisors and coaches, we've all seen it all together. There's no challenge that we can't tackle. And the team offers great personalized support. We'll match you with the right advisor for the best fits your needs and goals. What we as a team, when we get together, what we enjoy the most is getting people to win, helping them guide or helping people achieve things that they didn't think they were able to achieve, and ensuring that they're moving forward and dealing with looking forward of what's next and how we can achieve financial goals. No matter where you're at, we have the right sort of strategy to build to fit your goals and take you from where you need to get to. So if you would like to book in with myself or one of the team, we've got this offer here up on the screen for you to book in for a discounted consultation, which is usually $400, but can be booked for $149. Look, I'm probably going to go a bit off script here. My producer might fall off her chair outside my window when I say it. If you book by Friday, we're actually going to knock that down to $99. So it's $149 if booked after Friday. If you book by Friday midnight, we'll take another $50 off that. So asking for forgiveness before permission here, but just let the team know that that's what Justin said and they'll get it sorted. So you can either use the link on the screen or the QR code, and we'll get started and take the first steps to achieving your financial goal. So it's just to get a booking in by that date. We don't actually have to have the meeting, obviously, with myself or the team. But if you can get that through, take up the extra offer and just say Justin said it's 99, and we'll get that done. And look forward to meeting you in the coming weeks. And I'll throw over to my producer now. Thank you again for your time today. I hope you enjoyed and found the session really valuable. I think she's gotten back on her chair and she's got some Q&A for me to answer here at the end.
Thank you so much for your time, Justin, and I'm sure you will be forgiven for that extra bit of a discount there. Now to end off, we've got a few quick fire questions just from our audience. The first question is, my mortgage renewal is coming up in August. Any recommendations on whether I should break soon or wait since the rates are trending downwards?
Without knowing your exact details around everything there, I'd just probably going to say wait for now. There's a couple more OCR announcements between now and then, and I think as long as your cash flow and you're surviving as it is right now, I'd wait and secure hopefully some even better rates come August.
Cool. Thank you, Justin. And next question. Any tips on keeping motivation towards the long-term goal of paying off my mortgage?
Probably the biggest one's to break it down. It's a fantastic long-term goal that you've got there, but even as I said before, some of those amazing examples of 9, 12, 15 or 18 years, they're still 9 to 18 years away. So you need some things to be broken down into maybe quarterly or 6 monthly targets to work towards. That's how I think you can probably stay motivated. Yeah, it's a fantastic goal to be working towards, but even with those amazing achievements of maybe getting it down in 10 years, it's very hard to stay motivated on just a 10-year goal. You know, we need to break that down into smaller goals.
Thanks, Justin. And for the last question, is it better to pay off your mortgage with inheritance money or keep the mortgage and buy an investment property?
Could be a little bit of both, if I can play politician on that, without obviously knowing the size of your mortgage. I would generally recommend paying down the home mortgage and using the equity that you create in the home to then pay for the investment property, because it's tax deductible debt. Want to get your home freehold and away from the bank as soon as possible. And as you saw before, we can use that to grow wealth. So it's a little bit of both.
Cool. Thank you. That is all the questions we have time for today. Sorry that we can't answer everybody's questions, but we do encourage, if you have any questions about our financial consultations, to email us via info@enable.me or call us at the number on our website. And I'll hand back over to you, Justin, to finish off.
Yeah, thanks again for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the session and got some nuggets out of there that you can take away, and yeah, look to book in with us. And yeah, myself and the team look forward to hopefully meeting you in the future.